Listen, babe. Oh, yeah. It's alright, alright, alright. Listen, babe. Oh, yeah. It's alright, alright, alright.
next week. Straight lights. Hey,
What's
hey,
happening?
hey,
What's
hey,
happening?
what's happening? You almost got me again. You almost got. I promise you. I promise
He gonna
you,
get
if you get me
canceled.
canceled, I'm gonna cancel you personally. Anyway, so anyway, you guys should have heard the conversation we had. What's up, man?
What's going on?
You ready to teach this class?
Yeah, we about to get to it.
Good, good. Well, listen, I just want to say something real quick. Tonight, y'all, we won't be using Miro. We had a whole bunch of big presentations today. One to Claremont Colleges and the other one to Mills College. And in both conversations, we were discussing diversity, but not like anybody listening to me assume you would speak about diversity. We removed all that victim undertone. We removed the narrow vision and the exclusionary undertones of social justice, right? We removed the ideas that white people can own our solutions, or any race can own any other race solutions, right? It's funny because when you think about diversity, real diversity is actually a good business argument. That's what we shifted towards, is that when you decide you want to move a product in a large market, a global market, you can't assume you understand anybody. And so once you decide to expand, you have to engage in insights so you can accurately show up and build a healthy relationship. Once you start to assume you understand and then embrace popular labels, you tokenize everybody, right? So like one of the things I'm watching amongst the black community, at least the straight black community who consider themselves liberals, they start tokenizing gay community. Oh they, right? Tokenizing black people of color, tokenizing Latino. You know how big the word Latino, what it represents, how huge of a division. First of all, black people's huge, but even Latino, all these things are huge. Asian, huge, right? But when they use these terms because the brain tries to take shortcuts to make itself feel comfortable, we're actually we're actually removing the value of the people that's in front of us. Other thing, one of the other highlights, I'll just give a quick highlight, other highlight that was kind of cool, is racism is a balance. I mean, diversity is a balance. So what I mean by diversity is that, let's take it to swimmer. I don't know if you guys heard about the swimmer who was a transgender woman who swam against straight women. So the article took time to highlight how she had to show up in a space of all this racism and acceptance. But on the other side, you have to also highlight, this is what the story didn't talk about, the 17th woman who wasn't able to join the team because she took the spot. And so the argument and discussion that we have to always think about is that diversity includes discrimination. In order for you to be diverse, you have to discriminate. Look, a marriage is a form of diversity. But how many people do you have to discriminate who wants to be your partner too? Right? Also, in diversity, you have to remove this whole argument of uniformity and talk unity. So unity is, we're different. I appreciate you. I appreciate our differences. I'm in love with you on our differences. Uniformity is that we have to be the same. So me and my wife ain't nowhere near the same. She said, I'm going to Napa, have wine, I'm going to come up missing. Right? This is what's going to happen. When I'm in the backyard and I'm playing with my Harley, she never comes back there unless I'm playing music. By the way, my Harley sounds real good. The point is this, unless I'm playing music, right? But we love each other and we're different as hell, right? And I think that's the thing that people don't realize is that we need to work on a space of, instead of us trying to be practice some blind form of uniformity. You know, like I told you once, I said, I don't like everybody in my family, straight up. I don't like everybody in my family. I go to barbecues, some people might be like, I just really can't fuck with you, right? I don't like everybody in the black community. Not everybody. I promise you I don't like everybody in the black community. There's some people, I just can't fuck with you. But if you gay, I gotta like everybody. If you white, I gotta like everybody. If you Asian, I gotta like everybody. We're not having, diversity is a very complex subject that deals with human beings. And anytime you bring up human beings, stop using simple models to try to understand human beings.
That's real talk, though.
It's not possible. So, all you need to know, there's no such thing as all you need to know when it comes to human beings. The shit don't make no goddamn sense. Human beings are so complex. Our beliefs are so, look, we have a plethora of beliefs. And then we have, on top of that, times a plethora of interpretations of those same beliefs. A plethora of experiences times a plethora of interpretations combined with a plethora of beliefs. That means there's 8 billion people on this earth, which is 8,000 million people, in case y'all don't know what 8 billion feels like. Now you times that times extra times interpretation of their experiences, times their history and the interpretation of their history, and then times their individual beliefs on the interpretation of their history. That's how much variation you're dealing with when you're dealing with the public. So when you go into the public and say, hey, this is what I know is true, for you, and the small circle of people, your 100 people that ride with you, but for the rest of the 8 billion people, we ain't fucking with you. Right? And so it's a crazy thing, but I want to talk about court for a second. And he didn't know I was going to do this because he wouldn't let me do it if he did. Because that's kind of brothers we are. We ain't doing all that shit. I don't know if you guys got a chance, and Court probably didn't share, and hopefully he will as he teaches the class. And I'm going to leave this desk because since we don't have mirror, I'm going to go in the background. And by the way, if we want to ask questions, let's place our questions in the chat group. And me and Shabisha will raise your questions up to Court so Court can respond to those questions. Also, Shabisha, let's wait for small breaks. Instead of just asking questions after every slide, let's just narrow it down to like maybe 2 or 3 times. We just take all the questions and lob them up. And that way, Court can kind of, because I feel like just from sitting on the outside in my space of trying to be sensitive to his space, I feel like sometimes we're disrupting his thoughts. That's just, he ain't said nothing to me about that. So if you got any funk with me, Shabisha, just come holler at me personally. But this cat, he just want to go home and feed his kids. Anyway, so let's just keep that simple. But I want to take a moment because there's an intersection here where I was thinking about this idea I wanted to share briefly. And I couldn't share the idea without acknowledging Court Smith. And as I explain this idea, you guys to see why the two can't be separated or pulled apart. First of all, let me say this real quick. The material that we're choosing for this class, the podcast, the books, the little blurbs, the reading articles, the blogs, all that kind of stuff, we're going out our way to make sure we don't teach you pop science. We're going out of our way to make sure that we don't teach you stuff that scientifically there's not a consensus around. A lot of pop science is, let's say I'm in the audience and Court is like wooing the crowds. I'm like, wow, I want to do what Court does. A lot of people who rise up eventually to serve the same space, they don't take ownership to see if what he was saying is true or not. They will just copy and paste Court and try to share in his success. And this is the whole self-help industry. It's just a whole bunch of people repeating the same shit over and over, just trying to make it sound sexier and sexier and sexier. It's almost become an industry of entertainment for the most part. Now there's some great people there, here and there. There's no such thing as everybody. But it's really driven because there's so much money poured into self-help culture. Then their motivation is, well, if I say A, the crowd cheers, I'm gonna say A as opposed to saying B, and people scratch their head like, And if people are willing to pay for A, I'm gonna stay with A. I'm not gonna explore B because nobody's willing to pay for B. In this class, me and Court have successful careers. So we're not teaching this class for money. I sure the hell ain't teaching it for status, because my life is amazing. There is no other motivation besides I want to see a better black community globally. And my brothers and sisters who are Latino, and I think we have an Asian cat, got one Jewish cat, sorry, Josh, and a couple of my Irish partners who ride with us, I fucks with you. So in the end, I want to see a better world. I want to be able to walk, like Ice Cube would say, I want to walk through the neighborhood and the flavor is good. And so we are taking time, like the podcast I post for everybody in this class, they're not pop podcasts. They're not repeating the same old shit. They're specifically, I'm making sure that specifically they don't sell you that bullshit that will on the back end have you depressed because you think something's wrong with you. When ultimately there's nothing wrong with you. They're just selling you this form of motivation that just can't be sustained or maintained or have no value to the long-term game that you're in. I'm trying to give you principles that me and him go back and forth on, that we use daily, and that we realize, like, everybody's really hyped around motivation. But anybody who works out know if you just go to the gym on a motivation, well, that's about 2 days, right? There's many days I don't want to be at that motherfucker. There's days I'm sleepy, especially after work. If you just want to right after work, and there ain't no motivation in that shit. I mean, unless I'm working in Atlanta, you understand me? But it's no motivation. Hey, if y'all don't know I like Atlanta strip clubs, and so be it. That's who I am. But anyway, but if there's not that undertone, I can't do it, right? So the reality is that selling this idea of motivation is almost a downer when you feel there's no motivation, or you may give up on a great idea, and instead of you training yourself to move in spite of motivation, and realize motivation will come and go throughout the process. Then if you don't understand that process and you keep listening, you can do it, and you can stay motivated and just keep staying focused and meditate. If I did it, you can do it. That's all bullshit. And so we don't teach that shit. Court's not teaching that shit. Now, the thing that's amazing about Court, he's a great storyteller. And to me, that makes him a better teacher. Straight up. Storytellers, because at the end of the day, content without context is not valuable. Stories give content context. But let me talk about what I wanted to say about Court. COVID hit. That shit hit quick, fast, and it was unpredictable. A lot of my business friends came to me and was breaking down. I mean, to the point, okay, I'm gonna use a language, and those Christians who can't handle this language, put your fingers on your ears for a second. It was a whole bunch of bitch assness. They came out just from nowhere. All right, Christians, come on back. And I watched folks start pointing fingers. What am I gonna do? So forth and so on. Court had started back up Court Smith, and he was gaining momentum in an industry where when the shutdown happened, his whole market was told, don't go to work. Remember, he sold most of the local sport teams, he was selling them their jerseys, right? He hadn't, at that time, saturated heavily in the public market. So when it hit, and I knew his situation, you never let your partner see the panic you have for them because you don't want to make that panic contagious, but I panicked for him, right? Even in my mind, I was prepared to help him out. Like, I was just like, okay, if he needs me, I'm here. But I was watching him because my heart went out to him because I was like, what the fuck? How's he going to get by? And I'm going to share with you guys that this man performed in ways, okay, but he didn't rob nobody. There was no liquor stores hit. He didn't break into your car. There was no fake-ass PPP loans or none of that shit, none of that, right? He didn't revert back to no pimping, macking plan, or any of that kind of shit, right? This man, he didn't tell his wife, his girl, hey, go to work while I get your money. I didn't see none of that. What this man did, he went hard. When times got rough, he engaged at a level that was so impressive. It was watching like the ultimate comeback game. You know, like one of those games where you're like, okay, they down by 30. Ain't no goddamn way they gonna win. And as it get closer, you're like, what? They gonna really do that shit? What? To the point that he actually came out stronger. Stronger team, moving in a way that's just so damn impressive. Which then led me to want to share this with you. And this is what I want to drop the mic and walk out on. There's this illusion that's happening in the business world. If you do everything right, you will be successful. You do this right, that right, this right, you'll be successful.
All right, here we go.
You have some people who will tell you, you know, what most entrepreneurs do for success is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And y'all be like, oh shit, that's great. By the way, that's because you guys are looking for rules, not looking for principles. But we'll get into that 6 months and when my turn to take over. But I'm gonna just keep this fast. You guys don't realize that those same 4 steps or 10 steps or 30 steps or even 400 steps of success is the same 400 steps for failure. They work on both sides equally. So this is why sometimes young people come to this class or people who are new to the game say, hey, now I did everything right. I don't understand why my money's not working right. This is why somebody will take the class for 1 or 2 years and be like, oh, I got the information. I'm ready to go. And then I check in with them about a year from now, like, yo, what happened to your money? Oh, man, I'm working on my shit, man. But I guess I think I'm doing some things wrong. I sent out a podcast, and it talked about the power of compounding. It said, Warren Buffett has been an investor for over 70 years. His first 30 years, he was just an average investor. But what people don't realize is that most of his money came after 67. He's in his 90s now. Up to that point, he was just as average as everybody else. Why are you telling us this? It's called compounding. If you ever going to learn anything about compounding interest or compounding numbers, when you first start, things seem very, very small. 1 turns to 2, 2 turns to 4, 4 turns to 8, 8 turns to 16. But when you get to like 10,000 turns to 20,000, 20,000 turns to 40,000, and as it gets bigger, those numbers go faster. Before you know, you're like, whoa, money's moving. But in that early stage, everything feels so damn slow. Pause, I'm coming right back. When you tell young people that it's about getting things right, this is why they can read books and they think I can go from 0 to let me lead. I'm ready to go. I got this. People don't understand the process of, I'm going to sweep the floors first. And through compounding process, go through the stages and rise to the top. Instead, people think if I just read the right books, I'm okay. I got this. Let me explain to you how success works. It's not about right and wrong. It's not about exposure. It's about compounding. Let's go back to court. What made me so fucking impressed with this brother is that success is not about you just on this trajectory of going up and a little dip here and there. Success is not about stability. Success is a constant up and down, but through the compounding process, you're growing. To watch him, and in order for you to be successful, it's about staying power. It's about how do you fight when attention is high? How do you show up when you feel your back is against a wall? And how consistent you are when you're bored, when the motivation is gone. When you no longer are being celebrated. When this time, now you're running a business and no one knows the fuck you are and ain't nobody checking for you. When it seems like every day seems like yesterday for a little while. Warren Buffett, after being in the game for 40 years, all the knowledge he learned, relationships he built, his wisdom of the game, allows him in his last 30 years to be the top man. If I attend media for the first 5 years, if I was teaching this class, I'd be like, dude, what the fuck you talking about? You only made this much money. You can't talk to me. Big bank, take little bank, sit your ass down. Right? But I was in my compounding process. I was growing. And you guys don't get this. This is why when I said 5-10 media is no longer a year, because I realized we were going against the principles of compounding. You need an environment where you can stay in an environment, constantly grow. This is why people read the same books 5 or 6 times. Because each time they come back, it's a new book because they're compounding in their growth. The same fucking book. So, black folks, don't let folks sell you this one weekend is going to make you successful. Don't let anybody tell you this one book's going to be everything for you. It's really going to come down to grit and your personal drive to stay in this game. You're going to fall in this game. You're going to have horrible times. You're going to go broke a couple of times, if not more than that. The question is this. You got to see that that's all part of the same process. It is not all about, one of the reasons we only think about the wins is because we have survivor bias, meaning that we only want to think about the times everybody won. But we have to also think about all the times people lost and still won. It's about the time you put in this game. Not right, not wrong, not smarter than somebody else, not you got this dope ass product and everybody gonna love your shit and this is why you gonna blow the fuck up. Nope, 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 and fucking no. It's really about I'm staying in this game. I'm learning as I go. When I make a mistake, old people, you respect him because he's old. You ain't intelligent and wise if you don't reflect on every incident, on every experience you have. If you're that old person that just ran through life on autopilot, you're just an old ass fool. I can tell you I'm old enough to call some motherfuckers old ass fools. But if you're constantly reflecting, that reflection gives you knowledge and wisdom that makes you a wise man. You guys get going with this? So as you're going through this business experience, every time you go through experiences, positive and negative, never assume positive is you're absolutely right. Positive means you got it right this time. Even when you win, reflect. And when you lose, reflect. And that compounding of that reflection makes you wise. Yo, I'm out.
Wow. I'm supposed to come up after that. No, that was. Thank you, Nana. I appreciate that. Yeah. I think that's going to also segue to a lot of what we're talking about today, especially this first slide that we're talking about. So give me 2 seconds to get our shit together. You ready? We good? All right. So, first slide, who said life was fair? The beauty about that is the precursor to this is exactly what Nana talked about, is that that question, who said life was fair? So I have a question to you. You can think about it or you can answer it. But the question is super simple. Do you think life is supposed to be fair? In any capacity, do you think life is supposed to be fair? Any no's? Who in here says no? Who in here says yes, life is supposed to be fair? So you think life is supposed to be fair? That's a good answer. Anybody else? Kaja thinks life's supposed to be fair. Anybody else? No.
It's not, but it's a very challenging habit it's a very ingrained habit of thinking. Like I find myself there more than, I'm surprised by how much that shows up. That's what I'll say.
Okay. So I appreciate the honesty of the ones who said, I think it's supposed to be fair, but it's not. And life's supposed to be fair. Because a lot more of us in our lifetime have that ingrained sense of life needing to be fair inside of us at a subconscious level and at even a conscious level for the ones who say, yeah, life's supposed to be fair. At a time in my life, I used to think life was supposed to be fair too. I did. We grew up around fairness, judicial system. The word that's not fair. Equal rights, right? Sharing, giving people their equal share, the talk of reparations, all the things in our life growing up, it also has embedded a sense of fairness inside of us about shit, that's not fair. Things are supposed to be fair. If he gets it, I'm supposed to get it. The issue with that is, did you know that a sense of fairness is a psychological disorder? It's a clinical, scientific, mental disorder. Meaning, if you went to a psychiatrist or a psychiatrist and said, I think life is supposed to be fair, you would have to pay them to get that out of you. That's fascinating to me because my whole life I was brought up with the concept that fairness is good. Fairness is right. Fairness is what we're supposed to do. Righteousness, right? There's something in the Bible where the lady got her baby stole. Excuse me again, Chris. The lady got her baby stole, because this is probably going to come out hood at some point. She got her baby stole. She went to the king and said, hey, this bitch stole my baby. And he said, okay, well then let's slice the baby in half and give them both the halves so that you both can have it. And the real mom was like, no, that's her. She can have it because she loved the child so much. And then the king, who was wise at the time, knew that the real mom would do that. So she said, got it. Give that baby to her. But if that didn't happen, the baby would have been sliced in half. Life ain't fair, right? And it taught us a sense of, man, justice, God's going to come and save us and make life equal for us. But it's a mental disorder. It's a fucking mental disorder. And I'll tell you this. The moment I shifted my thinking on this, I never said the words, that's not fair, ever again. Never came out my mouth. I haven't said that's not fair probably in like 11 years. Because once you understand the concept behind it and see and spread your brain, your mind, your thinking out to the big picture, you'll realize life ain't supposed to be fair. As a matter of fact, life not being fair works to your advantage. It works to your advantage, especially people like us, especially black folks, Latinas, different cultures, that it works to our advantage that life isn't fair. And here's why. Before we go there, I'm going to say a couple more points before that, though. So, if you look at the world, the natural world, the wild, is there anything in the universe or the world that gives you a hint that life's supposed to be fair? Is there anything, any hint from the universe that God created, this earth that God created or the universe created, whatever you believe, is there any hints outside? You take the humans out, just watching the wild, that gives you a hint that life is supposed to be fair. You can be out, say you're observing nature. You're sitting at a park and you see this beautiful deer grazing in the grass. Oh, this is a good day. This deer is just great. Oh, there's her mom. Oh, wow, they're eating grass. And a mountain lion comes, just snatches the baby up and just starts eating them in front of you. So what comes out your mouth naturally? Oh my God, that's not fair. Stop, somebody do, right? Because that's not fair. It's a baby. He hasn't got a chance to live his life and grow and eat grass for the rest of his life. And you go home and you go get some fucking chicken and eat the flesh and meat of another little bird animal. Why are you talking shit about what you just saw? You at Wingstop getting chicken, talking about life ain't fair. And everything else you shove in your mouth. So is life supposed to? So you get my point? Life ain't supposed to be fair. It's not. And the beauty of life not being fair is that God, thank God, now works to my advantage, because the angles that you can create in an unfair life can always give you advantage. It gives you optionality. It gives you options. The more someone is being unfair to you, the more vulnerable they are. To be manipulated, to be used, to be got back, to be slaughtered if you so choose. Because the idea of fairness blinds and leaves you vulnerable. It's a mental disorder. Sure.
All right, so I know life ain't supposed to be fair. Like, been past that train. Doesn't mean that I don't have roots that when I show up in an honorable or respected way that I don't have the hope that that expectation will be carried through on the other side. But fairness aside, so with the acceptance that life isn't supposed to be fair, what do you do when you're saying like you have the upper hand of like things not being fair? Like the last 4 months of my life have just been like, what the fuck, right? With my business move, right? And every day I'm taking like, big picture, think bigger thoughts, think at the end goal, think of all the things. And it's just like people just go, bah, 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 right? Just blatantly just doing all of the things that normal Shekinah, non-progressive Shekinah, non-elevated Shekinah would just be like, I will beat your boop, right? And I'm like thinking of the bigger picture. And I'm being hella raw right now. I had like a really bad day, so I'm sorry if I'm too raw for y'all. Get over it. But how do you like what do you say to yourself in those moments where like you're thinking of the bigger picture and you know that like if you sacrifice your immediate feelings to get to the greater goal, like how do you coach yourself through something like that, understanding life isn't fair, but somebody's doing some shit that got you fucked up?
Okay, so in this situation, it's a couple variables that are in play here. First variable is this. I would ask you, but I know the answer to this, and that is, have you ever scaled your business before from the level that you were on to where you're going? The answer is no. So then the next question is this normal then? So is this normal then could be a question that you can ask yourself to say, all the emotions that I'm going through, all the feelings that I'm feeling, all the ups and downs is a normal part of the process. Because fairness doesn't fucking exist. What this is normal turbulence and scaling. Then once you accept that, then all that I'll beat your ass shit becomes like, oh, okay, this is another little bump that now I expect. Oh, there's no more bumps? Okay, there's nothing else? Oh, okay. Like, it's a difference between knowing you about to have a one-on-one fight with somebody and knowing you about to get jumped. When you get jumped, the hits to the back of the head, you lightweight expect. I don't know if y'all ever been jumped. I'm just telling too much of myself. You damn near prepare for them, and they don't get you. Because you more solid, you expect that. If you expected a one-on-one fight and you getting jumped, every hit to any extremity that's not the person in front of you, you surprised. Oh shit, oh fuck. And you trying to negotiate them back to the one-on-one, it's too late. It's too late. So what I'm saying is sometimes the question is this a part of scaling? Because in business, you're talking like what you're going through at a certain point, and I guarantee it, Shekinah, because you dope. 10 years from now, when you scale again, this shit that you're going through, it will be laughable to you. So we're not even really talking fairness at this point. We're talking minor turbulence. You want everything to be smooth and linear, and you're very detail-oriented, so you're doing all the work, the pre-work, and making sure everything gets done perfectly before it happens. So then when it happens and it doesn't go according to the expectations and planning, you're like, what the fuck? But you have to understand you're dealing with other humans, and they ain't built like you. So I'm sure a lot of us in here have gone through some shitty ass childhoods, life, jobs, situations, relationships. And I remember one time saying to God that I am a good dude. God, why are you doing this to me? I'm a good dude. I've treated people, I gave hella homeless people food. Like, I'm going through the list in my head, all the nice things that I've done. Why would I deserve this? But it's because life is not supposed to be fair. Anything you go through in life, if you can accept it and be like, shit happens. Hey, shit happens. It is what it is. What's my new strategy? What's the new strategy? What's the new strategy? It doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. Don't mean you don't need to vent to somebody. It don't mean you want to cuss somebody out. Don't mean you don't want to whoop a motherfucker's ass. Don't mean you don't get depressed at times. Doesn't mean you have a drop in your emotions, any of that. Because even when I've had the tools, I still feel the feelings. But the beauty of it is, okay, now that I feel the feelings, what tools do I have or can I use to get me back to a place where I can perform? So even with what Nana was talking about during COVID, this is my second business. I done been to hell, back, been to heaven, hell, all of it in this lifetime. And so this second go around in the business, I'm using everything I learned in the past to help propel me and build my business in a fast pace. And I'm kicking ass because I've gone through so much and I've done so much. I got so much experience. I'm moving. I did not foresee a fucking COVID. I didn't plan for that. And there's no get back. There's no, like, you literally will have to have another successful business running at the same time in order to, where all your products are made in America, for you to counteract that. So so how do you plan for that? How you don't? Now, I'd be a liar if when it first happened and I looked at my bank account and my payroll is 30 racks and my bank account says 0, I'd be a liar if I didn't have a temper tantrum or be like, what the fuck, or shit, or oh my, here we go again. I did, of course I did. I'd be a liar if I didn't say I didn't feel bouts of depression. I did. I get low. I didn't sit in my room for 2 days trying to like pouting. I'll be a liar because I did do all that shit. It was I got ugly. But the difference is I had tools now. I got tools. Which tool are we going to use for this one? I need an emotional tool, a mental tool, a business tool, a skill tool. So I'm just laying out what tools that I need to use in order to make this happen. I tell you some more truth. I was already halfway in my head starting another business. When my bank account says 0, my income says 0 3 months in a row, I'm used to seeing, we make 2020, we was doing maybe $60,000, $70,000 a month. And it said 0, then month 0 again, then 0 again. I'm like, fuck. All right, well, what am I gonna do next? What do I like doing? That's the truth.
What kept you in the game to stick with your business?
Tools. Because the first thing is, once I started using my tools to say, all right, am I just being a mark and running and hopping from one thing to the next? Or can I honestly say that I gave it everything that I could have gave it before I moved on? No, I didn't. I didn't give it everything. I'm jumping. I'm jumping early. all right, well, what would be my strategy? Because I couldn't at that point, and I was too emotional to say, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do Court Smith. Let's keep it going, Court. I wasn't there. The question I had to ask myself was, what do you think the strategy would be if you decided you wanted to keep this business? Then I freed my bandwidth up to where it wasn't pressure. It was more like, oh, this is a thought experiment. Oh, yeah, well, I would probably do this and I would pivot like this. What if Courtney Smith got fired and you were the new CEO and had to save this shit? I play little games in my head. What would be your strategy? But it's definitely not, I was motivated every day. Fuck no. Did I use motivational tools at times? Hell yes. Especially the times where I need to get me from depression to just regular on the ground again. Absolutely. What percentage of the time was that? 10? Maybe less? Did I use inspiration? Sure. What percentage of that? 5? Maybe 10? The other 80 was business tools, strategy tools, emotional agility tools, emotional tools. How do I manage my emotions in these times so I can wake up and be my best self today and give it my all today? So, but if you move with a sense of fairness, that'll eat at you it's going to eat at your soul because you're going to continually be thinking something's not right. Can you concentrate when something in your head saying something's not right? Wait, something's not right. Wait, something's not right. Something in your kitchen is spoiled, and you got to find that smell. You got to figure out where it's at. So you in that kitchen looking, scrumming through everything in your refrigerator to figure out what's gone, what's spoiled, because something ain't right. That's how it feels when you're moving as an entrepreneur with a sense of fairness. Life is not supposed to be fair, and that's great. That's beautiful. Some examples of that. Is it possible for you to become a millionaire and be dumb? Is it possible for you to be a millionaire and be an amazing athlete? Is it possible for you to be a millionaire and be beautiful? Can you be a millionaire and be ugly? Can you be a millionaire and be fat? Can you be a millionaire and be a trendsetter and an inventor? Can you be a millionaire and not be able to invent nothing? I could keep going. You can be a millionaire or successful or whatever the numbers is. The numbers don't matter. In anything you want, in any kind of way. You just find your angle. Can you be in the NBA and be 7 foot? Yeah. Can you be in the NBA and be 5'5"? Yes. You got to be super dumb fast, but it's possible. It happens every draft. Every draft. Now, can that 5'6" person move at any point with the mindset that this shit ain't fair? You can't. You just have to offset with the rhythm of what's going on. You offset with your skills. So guess what? If bruh is super tall, you super fast. You got a quicker release. You have more moves, better up and unders. You're great on defense. You steal the ball. Like you create your value with where you are. Then you realize people would be coming up to you and be like, man, I wish I had what you got. Life ain't fair. The minute you drop that life ain't fair shit, it's almost like you become 40% faster in what you do. You ain't crying about nothing. You are not crying about anything. You're moving. Life is not supposed to be fair. How many Christians that we have in here? By show of hands, how many Christians? The Bible's God chose one small group of people, the Jews. That was it. We're talking Bible. Life ain't supposed to be fair. Life ain't supposed to be fair. So for all those other surrounding cities, countries, that wasn't God's chosen people. The Jews are. It wasn't until after, when Jesus came, they opened it up. After Jesus died, they opened it up to the rest of y'all. Maybe they had a Me Too movement at the time. But whatever happened, that's when they opened it up to Gentile people. Do you understand? There's nothing going on. Our whole world is built by the best. The best in our society, not the losers. And you know what's cold? Not even the second placers. In the Olympics, old Olympics, the person who got the gold, the number one, he got all the endorsements, all the cash, all the money, all the commercials, everything. The number 2 fastest person in the world, or the number 3 fastest person in the world, y'all don't even know their names. You know who Usain Bolt is, right? But do you know who came in second? Or third? No, and these motherfuckers are the second fastest people on earth. On earth. That ain't fair. That's not fair. He should get some too. Give him some. But life ain't fair. It ain't supposed to be fair. And when you move accordingly, you'll find pockets of success and happiness and love and fun and friends and enjoyment that you never thought was there, because you've been so busy trying to make things fair that you don't realize the beauty and love that you have right in front of you, right here, the success opportunities you have right here. Hip-hop was created from a genre of kids in their hood. Like, we make any culture cool. Do you understand that? Like, we have the power to turn anything into culture. Black women, my God. Y'all the most bit, copied, imitated, everything. Do you and still will be screaming life ain't fair? You run this shit when it comes to culture. Man, I might get canceled for this. The whole gay community owes y'all reparations for everything. They style, they sweat, how they talk, their hands, everything. Do you realize how powerful you are? So don't look at life as life. It's just supposed to be like this. If you look at it as it's supposed to be like this, then now you can move accordingly. What do I do? What's my next move? What's my strategy? And that leads me to the second order thinking conversation. Second order thinking is part of a mental model. Let me get your slides so you can see the slide. Second order thinking is a mental model. Nana talked about first principle thinking last year. So what comes after first principle thinking is second order thinking. And so second order thinking is when you have a thought experiment in your head about what happens next. A lot of times we have these big goals, right? I want to make it big. I want to be a millionaire. I want to blow up. I want to get a dog. I want to get married. I want a boyfriend. I want a girlfriend. I want all these things. You want. And it's good to want. But very few of us get to the second order thinking of, well, then what's next after that? What happens when I get it? The most powerful way that you can think is when you go from first principles to second order. And a lot of us think most of the work comes from getting the thing. No. The work that it takes to maintain the thing and grow the thing after you get it is much more challenging than getting it. So if this person is my dream girl and I'm go after her, I do all the little research about what she like and don't like and this and that, and I go after her hard. And then I finally get her. I don't know what to do. Next thing you know, the shit falls apart. Because you didn't have second order thinking. There's a lot of females out there that want to be with entrepreneurs. I want a baller. I want an entrepreneur. I want a person who make big money. And okay, but have you thought about the lifestyle that you have to live and the person you have to be in order to maintain that type of relationship? How the emotional strength you need to have to be around a person like that. He quirky, he nerdy, he works a lot, he goes hard, stoic. So when I say stoic, which means there's a lot of truth in them conversations, so your feelings get hurt, because you have to have a certain kind of thinking to build successful businesses over time. So, damn, shit. Oh, I just wanted the Gucci purse. Second order thinking allows, okay, what's a thought experiment of what once I get it? Getting a business, starting a business, that's one thing. But maintaining that business and growing it, oh my God, that shit, like, that's what this learning, that's why we in this class, that's what the books are about. So, second order thinking allows you to think through the next step through thought experiments in order to prepare for the life cycle of what you want. And it doesn't mean that you're always accurate or 100% right. No, it's saying when we talking ready, fire, aim, when you're getting ready, how far have I thought this through? Always exercise second order thinking in everything. When you get good at second order thinking, you're pretty much you're I'm just gonna say it the way I'm gonna say it. You're out thinking 90% of our population. Because most people, they just get stuck at what they want. I'm being generous with 90%. I'm being generous. I remember I moved in with a girl for a brief moment some years back. She was on my helmet wanting to move in. So I was going through a little period and I'm like, all right, fuck it. Moved in. I'll come home from work super late. And it was like 4 chicken nuggets. It was 4 chicken nuggets, like microwavable chicken nuggets, sitting in the microwave waiting for me. Not the fried nuggets. So I'm like, and they wasn't. It was cold. Right? I was like, so I'm like, have you ever like lived with a man before? No. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like you want, like sometimes we want shit, but we don't think through all of it. So second order thinking, and it's not fear-based second order thinking. That's not being scary. Sometimes it sounds like you're being scary or you're hating. No, it's not like you being a hater or you're being scared. It's just running through a thought experiment in your head about, okay, I want this thing. Now what? when I get it, what's the maintenance required? How much is that maintenance going to cost me every month, every year? Okay, now, what's the repair cost? What's this? Cleaning? And just go through it in your head to say, now you can count the cost. Then the emotions subside about how exciting you were about getting it. And now I was like, I wanted a boat. I've always loved the water. I've always loved the water. I'm a water boy. I'm from the Bay. Man, I've seen that boat like twice. So I'm paying these boat dock fees. Because there was no second order thinking. It was just finally got to get me a boat. Second order thinking. So now I'm like, okay, this summer I'm gonna sell this boat. I'm gonna put this back. Now I'm looking to see what the value of the boat is so I can put it on the market. So I just wasted a year not doing shit. So second order thinking allows you to continue, and in business is fucking imperative. Is absolutely necessary for you. Lottery winners and all the people, that lottery winner mentality is the paradise is in the initial event. True entrepreneurs, they already saw the life cycle all the way to the end. So when you hear, well, what's your exit strategy of your business? Some of us are like, exit strategy? What the fuck is that? I want to blow up. Shit. Or I'm gonna have this business forever. Because you don't even realize the different types of exit strategies in your business. If you haven't thought about it, then you could be swayed, or you have a purpose that's embedded within your business that could be compromised. Any questions on that before we move to? Sure.
It's more of a prompt. If I could get you to think out loud for us, second order thinking is kind of like exercises in thinking through external challenges that might come as a result of accomplishing something you want to accomplish. So thinking about, I want that boat, what comes along with it, dock fees, etc. But I was wondering if you could kind of think out loud on second order thinking internal. I think earlier in the session we started to explore some of is life fair was really an internal question about framing and experiencing the world. When thinking about frustrations that might arise, those second order dock fees, and thinking about how to approach them, brainstorming internal anticipations on how to approach problems. Like, what does your process look like in that?
Man, great question. So that's a great segue to our previous conversation about life being fair. So that's one of the tools I have in my toolbox, not the one that's in the box. It's on my belt. It's right here because I use it a lot. And second order thinking, the version of second order thinking is when, have you ever had a situation happen where you got punched in the face, right? A lot of times we get punched in the face lightly, not literally, but I'm like with a problem, with an issue, with a situation. Somebody called you with some bad news, whatever that may be. That's what I call getting punched in the face. And you're like, oh, okay, I can handle that's sad, I can handle that, but it happened. And then 30 minutes later, something else happens. And then 40 minutes later, something else. And then some failure happens. Now, everyone has a different threshold to where they get to a point where they're like, I'm a horrible person, or I suck, or I'm stupid, or fuck, life is horrible. It may be one of those things, or it could be in succession. For me, it's succession. If I'm pretty strong with one-offs, but if I get hit in the face with something 4, 5, 6 times in a short amount of time, then that's when I get in them whiny spaces, right? And usually something stupid comes out of my mouth, like, I'm stupid, or I'm a failure, or what did I get myself into? Or who am I to think that I could do some shit like this, right? Now, typically, those fear-based, limiting belief statements that you make can be shattered with second-order thinking. Because if you say, I'm not smart enough, or I'm not good enough, then once you say, are you 100% sure that that's true? Is that true? Do you have, like, saying, and this is going backwards in time now, not forward. So using second order thinking to go backwards in time and say, so you're saying you failed at everything you've done in your past. Is that true? Well, fuck, not everything, but a lot of shit. Well, have you succeeded in a lot of shit? Well, you want to say no, but in actuality, when you really dig deep and answer truthfully, yeah, it's a mixture. So then is actually what you're saying is an emotional outburst, but it's not really true. And that's how you can pull yourself out of it. Say, well, you know what? I actually ain't I'm not a failure. I've done some great shit in my life. I made some mistakes, but I've learned from them. Maybe a better person. And now you're walking yourself through to a place where you just finished saying, I'm a failure. Now you're at a place where you're back optimistic about what you can do. So I call it reverse second order thinking, but it's in the reverse, because what it's doing is going a step beyond the bullshit statements where you get frustrated or angry or depressed or down on yourself about something, and it allows you to think through all the way to the end of that life cycle, which typically almost every time, because what you just did was a cognitive distortion, every time you bust it. You bust it.
I have a statement, and then I'm going to say Brandy's question. One of the great things about hope is it gives you tools when you're very emotional, right? So if someone were to ask you something now, you're not in an emotional state. You have more access. But this class also gives you tools when you're in a very emotional space. So I think that's just one of the dopest things about this, because it makes it more accessible and real. Mm-hmm. Brandy's question was, back when you were talking about, being in your room and you were like, I didn't really have it. I was too emotional at that point. So I used my tools. So her question was, what is an example of emotional tool that got, when you were in that space, what tool did you use?
That was one of them.
Second order thinking, even when you were that emotional.
Exact one was one of them.
Okay.
All day. Maybe I went through that one 3-4 times. Mm-hmm. Like that was one of them. And that's an emotional tool, right? Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with motivation. It has nothing to do with inspiration. That particular one was emotional, helping me manage my emotions back up to a space of optimism. Where am I at now? Where do I want to be? I'm at depression now. I can feel the depression setting in because I'm sleeping in longer, fucking not shaving. Like I know my rhythm, my patterns when it comes time for depression. So the beauty about it, and that's really all the difference of if you ever crash into a depressed state, the difference between somebody who has and somebody who, appears to have their shit together all the time, they just have better tools. It's not that they're better. They just have tools at their disposal that they can use. You know what I'm saying? So that was one of them. I use tools in every category. You know what I'm saying? In order to work myself into, because then I got to walk into the office, and it's 8 people at the time that depend on me. And if I'm tripping, they gonna be tripping. If I'm worried and nervous, they gonna be worried and nervous. So I can't show any of that to anybody that is relying on me. My household was the same. So between my household and my office, there was no really. I had to go in the corner and cry by myself. I hear a rumble and I gotta wipe that shit off. Yeah, what's up? What you need? Because I do that not for posturing. It's because I need everyone to be at their best and not be worried. Because that ain't going to help the situation. So thank God, like that was a difference. It wasn't that I'm stronger. It's just I got tools. I use tools at my disposal, all of them. So that's one of them. I could go on and on at the different ones that I use, but that's a major one because I say good 60%, 70, 80% of your emotional breakdowns can be solved by that tool.
I just wanted to add a comment to say that I think one of the beauties of taking this class, especially for hella years, is that the longer that you're on this journey, like the more grace you're going to develop because you start to realize that your failures are a part of your success story. And like the one thing that sticks with me every time that I feel like I made a huge mistake is that 70% of the decisions I make are going to be wrong, regardless of how smart and strategic and OCD I am. 70% of my decisions are going to be wrong. And so, like, really giving myself permission to get through my mistakes with as much grace as I can allow so that I can get to the successes is a part of what makes the journey so spectacular because it's going to be full of peaks and valleys. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll tell you this. You know, I talk about God a lot because I believe in God. However, I don't know if you know this. I was atheist for a year. For a good year, I was atheist. After that year, I was like, oh no, my bad. We good. I'm back in. I believe in you. Is the false sense of thinking that life is supposed to be fair. The Bible's promises, this, that, my whole life, I'm like, this has to be bullshit. There can't be a God then. It can't be. It can't be. And if he is around, he don't like people that look like me. Because my mom was the biggest and still is the biggest church-going, preaching, evangelist, spiritual person on the planet. And so I watched her have a horrible life. So I used to think, damn, if you this spiritual and church going and this is how you living, like it can't be a God. Because that ain't fair. You go hard. We would be walking through East Oakland from 64th and Mack by the cemetery to 55th Ave where our church was in my fucking sky blue suit because we didn't have a car walking to the church. While I'm getting roasted the whole time by all my partners. So so over time that compounded. And when I went tried to find my spiritual journey and things collapsed, life collapsed for me. My relationships, my marriages, all the shit that I thought was supposed to be a certain way because I was doing all the right things like Nana was talking about. So this input is supposed to have this output. I'm not doing this shit. I'm not wilding out. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And this happens, life is supposed to be fair. It's supposed to give me what I put in. And when it didn't, I was like, it can't be a God. This has to be one big ass joke. But you know the beauty of being an atheist for a year? Radical responsibility. It taught me radical responsibility. Because if it ain't nobody up there, then it's all up to me. It's all on me. It's all on me. I can't blame nobody. That there ain't nobody coming. It's all on me. And that taught me radical responsibility. It is what it is. We animals out this motherfucker, and it's survival of the fittest. And I shifted my whole brain around atheist thinking, which is, this is all there is. So we got to get it and protect it and live it and get it the best way you can. And don't blame nobody for shit, because ain't nobody coming. Ain't no angels, ain't no gods, ain't nobody coming. And my work ethic like went crazy. My attitude and my attitude around certain things, and man, it's missed me with that shit. Now, then it started getting more corrupt. There was some corruption in my thinking too. Because then, if ain't nobody coming and God's not watching over me, then I got to carry a pistol with me everywhere. And that's what I did. In my car, everywhere. Because if it's over, then it's over for good. If I ain't going to no afterlife, then I got to stretch this motherfucker out. So I'm going to get you before you get me. So that sort of start corrupting my thinking, which start creating other problems. But the point is, that helped me start taking radical responsibility and stop worrying about the fairness of life. It is what it is. So same when you got shit popping off and it's not where you want it to be. There's also mental illness that can happen too. I mean, shit, like when you realize, man, shit happens. And it could have been some bad stuff, yes. But if you can embrace the fact that it is what it is, what if this is the journey of life? What if this is part of life? Part of my growth? We're on our islands a lot. And we think the things that happen to us only happen to us. So that's what helps exacerbate that whole us against the world, life ain't fair situation. I used to have that story. My pops was a crackhead. We lived in the hood. I saw all kind of grimy shit, violence growing up. In my mind, stuff a kid shouldn't see ever. And like just abuse and whoopings and hood shit and trauma and PTSD and blah, blah, blah. And I had this story. I could go down where I lived. I can go to the neighbor below me and they got the same story. I can go next door. They got the same story. We all got something. We all got something. So what do? We lay down? We lay down? Fuck no. I'm a win still, motherfucker. I'm a win still. What I got to do? Am I dead? No. What do I got to do? Well, they already shot the gun and everybody started running already. So everybody's like 50 paces ahead. You're going to lose. You ain't even going. Man, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to put some skates on. There's no rules in the rule books that say I can't wear skates. Well, that's not fair. Life ain't fair, motherfucker. Bye. Like, when you start thinking like that, game changes. All right, let's talk some ego as an enemy. I hope you guys are getting further along in the book. The lightweight's probably breaking you down a little bit. Good. Life ain't fair, motherfucker. Shabisha, you ready?
To become great and to stay great, they must all know what came before, what is going on now, and what comes next. They must internalize the fundamentals of their domain and what surrounds them, without ossifying or becoming stuck in time. They must always be learning, must all become our own teachers, tutors, and critics.
So this isn't school, this ain't college, this isn't master's degree, this isn't a PhD, this isn't an educational system. This is a quote unquote group or a class that's designed to help you guys become great. We want you to be great, amazing, successful, balling, whatever those words that describe a black swan that you are. That's what we want for you. So ego as an enemy is not to break you down so that you become weak and docile and you don't want to do shit. No, the goal is to be great. To be an entrepreneur, you have to do great shit. If you can't do great shit, then you get swallowed up. But what we're saying is you must know the fundamentals of what you do without being stuck in time. So I don't know if you ever had that OG who had a prime and they still dress like that time frame, and all they do every time at the end of the conversation, they just led you back to that time in the 90s where they was selling dope and doing big shit and had 2 Rolls Royces and all kind of shit. And this is 2022. And I asked you, like, hey, where's the water fountain at? Because you must internalize the fundamentals without becoming stuck in that time period. Learn from the past. Be a student of the past. Without that foundation, then typically what end up happening is you'll make hella mistakes that were already pre-manufactured for you. You're starting over. Ego says, I'm the smartest, I'm the best, can't nobody do it like me, blah, 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 blah. And that is a fucking ticket to entrepreneur hell. We must become our own teachers, tutors, and critics. So if you can get comfortable saying, that sucks, that's not good enough. Like, we're changing our business model now to where we're targeting a different demographic. Keep continuing with our demographic, but we're adding a different demographic. So I ask somebody in that demographic we're targeting, hey, like, you've been watching this company for the past 7 years. Out of the past 7 years, what are your favorite designs? The person gave me 2. I said, all right. That means, like, my shit is trash in his eyes. We got to get better. We got to get better. We got to get better. And that's okay. It's a challenge. But you got to be able to, because Nana, there's not going to be Nana around 24 hours a day. He got shit to do. So we're not going to always have people who objective that can be there for us every single day. That's not even reasonable to ask. It's like the idea of having somebody, a mentor figure who can keep you in check and keep checking you at times and run your shit by, that's dope, but they're not going to be available all the time. So you're going to have to learn how to build your own muscle of objectivity and learning and self-growth and being critical to yourself without going into a deep depression. I don't know enough in this subject. I got to get better. I'm stiff in this department. I got to improve, or I need help. I don't eat healthy. I'm fucking overweight. I'm this, I'm that. And it just is what it is. Okay, well, what are we going to do? If you're like, that's not fair that girl is prettier than me, or this person or that, life ain't fucking fair. Well, when I eat a calorie, it takes me this hard to work off. That's a scientific doctor's thing. No. If you got to work harder, that's life. We all have unfair advantages over others in something. Just the truth. The goal is for you to stay in that department a lot. Where do you have unfair advantages at? Where do you have unfair advantages at? And here's a secret. A lot of times that unfair advantage is on the other side of trauma. So that shit that happened to you that wasn't fair because it was traumatic, it left a seed, or it left a golden nugget of advantage that you could use. Phew. Trying to tell you. I'll give you one. Growing up in an abusive household. My dad was a wild boy, a wild man. He crazy abusive. So when there's a man in the house, alpha male, big ass 6'2", dark skinned motherfucker, just he's a scary motherfucker when he's not happy. So when you grow up in that household, you can smell when he's coming. You can sense it. You can analyze and see, is he high? Is he drunk? Is he this? Is he that? Is he in a good mood? Is he in a bad mood? You can analyze everything because your sense of awareness becomes so heightened for your survival that over time you build this extra sense. Not because you're special, out of survival. It's called mutation and adaptation. Oh, it's going to happen. Hey, you know what triggers, what not to trigger, how to make them laugh. So some comedians, some excellent comedians, that's their story. And I had my household was abusive, so I used to bring my dad down by making a joke and making him laugh. So him having to be funny was about their survival and his mom not getting abused. See what I'm saying? So now he's taken that and flipped that, and now he's the funniest motherfucker on planet Earth. So my eye for fashion, my eye for what's off in this shirt or this design or this font or this text or this or this that or that, where'd that come from? Yeah, dig, you feel me? You see what I'm saying? So that's why, is that fair? It is what it is. So when trends I can see trends happen, that same sense of observation, like, okay, this is going to be in by this summer, it's going to be in by next year, or this trend is going out, or where does that come from? It's tied to a trauma. Not saying that happens all the time. I'm saying that that's how you can look at life. When you look at life like that, you can see a lot of times those unfair advantages you have are on the other side of some sort of trauma that you grew up with. Next slide. Be confident, be humble. I can see the questions coming. How the fuck do you be confident and humble at the same time? Humility comes from a space of knowing that you don't know shit. And there's so much more to learn. Humility comes from a place of, I know I'm just a speck of dust on this earth, and there's so much more to learn in life to get better. Confidence comes from, well, for what I do know, I'm good as fuck at. So it's the dichotomy of those two thoughts existing inside you together. Arrogance and cockiness is saying what I do know and what I'm good at is all there is to know. There ain't nothing else that needs to be known. But confidence comes from practice. Confidence comes from practice. So if you ever think about when you watch basketball players miss free throws in the NBA, that shit boggles my, like, logically it can boggle your mind, right? The dude gets paid to play basketball. And that's all he does every day. Every single day. And you miss free throws? What is that? That has zero to do with the skill of putting the ball in the hole. You're standing there, nobody blocking you, you're not moving around, you stand, and you can shoot as many, you can practice as many as you want. What it comes down to a lot of times is self-doubt. Second guessing yourself. What are you saying to yourself at the free throw line? What are you saying to yourself? What's the conversation that you have with yourself? What tools do you have? What are you saying to yourself as you're shooting that free throw before you shoot the free throw? When you can get to like Shakina, your third building, all the shit that's happening now is gonna be like, okay, yep, okay, I get it. I'm gonna cut you off right now because this is what we're gonna do. Oh, this happened. Okay, well, we're gonna go here. Now it's gonna be more a part of your system, your processes, than a surprise. Because that comes with confidence. So the goal is to have both operating in your system at the same time, at all times. And knowing sometimes when to be humble and when to turn on your confidence. Because sometimes you have to turn things up and turn things down. If you're presenting if you're presenting something to powerful people or you're presenting a statement, it's time to be confident about what you know. If somebody tries to correct you, it's okay to say, that's an interesting thought. Let me do some more research. Or keep going, explain more. I would love to hear what you have to say. Guess what that is? That's confidence. That's not humility, that's confidence. Because you have enough self-value, self-love that you're able to learn more. Hey, I can learn more. I'm confident in learning in this situation. So that's why the two can exist. Shabisha, I see you giving me that glare. I know what that glare means now.
What does it mean?
I need more. I need you to go deeper for me. Like, let's expound on that point. I got questions.
Okay. The art of taking feedback is such a crucial skill in life, particularly harsh and critical feedback. We not only need to take this harsh feedback, but actively solicit it, labor to seek out the negative precisely when our friends and family and brain are telling us what we're doing great.
So under God's grace, that's why I can't take full credit. I absolutely can't take full credit for how we've maneuvered out of this pandemic, because I got some dope-ass people working for me. And I have some dope-ass mentors, this brother being one of them. And one of my mentors said, Court, prepare for this. I was like, yeah, okay, it's February. It'll be back. We'll be back in 2 months. They said 2 months. They said this thing will be over in 2 months. So they said, Court, prepare for this to be a year. No, not no year. No. Court, prepare for this to be a year. So then comes a thought experiment. Well, what shit, can I survive a year? Now at least it's in my head, it's in my brain, and it's a possibility that a whole year can pass by and not shit change. That COVID shit was 2 years and some change. We still lightweight in the rim. We just took our masks off, 4 hours ago. So I love harsh and critical feedback. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. I thrive on it. I thrive on it. Because most people don't even value you or what you're doing enough to even say anything. They just ain't fucking with you. Just not fucking. How come it's like 1,000 people who viewed my shit, but only 4 people that liked it, and then nobody commented? Because the other 990 people don't give a fuck about you like that. So when somebody hates, oh, good, thank you. What you think? Tell me. Give it to me. Because there's truth in it. There's truth in it. You level me up. You leveled me up. Any kind of hatred or hate, I enjoy all of it. And if somebody comes from a loving space and gives you critical or harsh feedback, man, that is beautiful because they saved you time and they're saving you money. Like Nana, we got to protect that dude because he's a dinosaur. There ain't nobody out there like that. Not a dinosaur like, y'all know what I'm talking about. Meaning like they don't make motherfuckers like that no more. And in today's 2022 time, it's even worse. You can't even, people's feelings get hurt so easily that like weak motherfuckers are running from giving any kind of feedback. They're just lying to everybody. Yep, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool. And we're leveling up in our way to get our feelings hurt more and more by less and less. I got a call from somebody, feelings hurt because I left them on read on a text. What the fuck is that? What's read? You left me on read. I sent you a text and you showed that you read it, but you didn't reply. Motherfucker, if you don't get off my I didn't say nothing. I didn't give you no feedback. I didn't tell you was trash. I didn't say get the fuck out of here. Fuck you. Nothing. I didn't even respond to you. But that's a new way to get your feelings hurt. No. So that's what I'm saying. People like that are rare. You gotta value people like that. That can be honest with you, but it's coming from love, knowing they want to see you succeed. I want to see you win, so I'm going to give you everything, and I'm going to give it to you fast to save you time. What you think about this? It sucks. What you think about this idea? It's terrible. It's going to fail. It doesn't even mean that you have to follow it word by word, but you take the criticism and feedback and you run it through your filter and see how you can improve it every time. Yep.
I like getting feedback also, and I don't necessarily feel a way if it's not positive. But just like you said, that sorting process, a lot of times when I'm getting feedback, I can feel myself like, okay, yes, this applies. No, this doesn't apply. Maybe I'll put this in the box where I'll go back and look at it later. And that can read to people giving the feedback as you're not taking it. But I have thought, just because I hear your feedback and I receive it, doesn't mean I need to do anything with it. Doesn't mean I need to do anything with it in this moment. I might hold it until I'm ready to do a postmortem and think about a lot of feedback that I got. So does that still mean you're taking it if you hear it and you receive it, but you just either decide not to do anything with it right now, or you maybe just don't have the mental bandwidth to do anything with it right now?
Well, to me, that sounds like you're karate chopping, deflecting it. And now it's just chopped up. What I'm saying is, let it hit you, absorb it. In the moment, well, what do you mean by that? Because self-reflection on feedback without absorption is like water on a waterproof jacket. Just rolls off and you don't really have any remnants of it besides a brief memory. But in the moment where you let it absorb into you, That's how you can extract the most benefit from it. Well, what do you mean? Tell me more. Well, why? Why didn't you like it? Well, why do you feel that way? To where now you get a clear picture of what, then when you go home to reflect, you're reflecting on the learning. How can I use this to benefit my business? The answer may be, I can't use it at all. The answer may be, oh shit, I just changed the trajectory of my company. But you're not sorting it out later. You already absorbed it in a moment. You see what I'm saying? You absorb it in the moment. The idea is not to run from feedback. The idea is not to run from feedback. So that sounds like deflection. Deflection. You know what I'm saying? Don't deflect. Don't save it for later. Don't throw it away. Take that shit and dig deeper into it.
How do you extract further or elicit further critical or negative feedback from someone who maybe isn't skilled at articulating the feedback? Like they just know it ain't for them and they don't like it and it's a problem with it, but they can't actually articulate it to you. But you see the opportunity for the growth. It's like, well, tell me more. How do you extract, I guess, critical feedback from somebody who maybe is having a problem giving it to you?
Well, typically when it comes to entrepreneurship, the issues are either the value of the product or priming, framing, or anchoring of the product. The value or priming, framing, or anchoring of it. So as we all know in entrepreneurship, we've been taught this so far. Entrepreneurship is like purchasing products is all emotion-based. It's not logic. So anytime we're trying to sell a product or a service to a customer, the actual conversion, the transaction is all emotions. The customer is buying what you're selling based on an emotional decision, not a logical one. So if somebody ain't fucking with you, they're either telling you the product doesn't do shit for me, it does not provide me any value, either in use value, social currency value, any value, and or you didn't tee this up right. How you packaged the product, how you marketed it, how you sold it to me, how you branded it to me. Your brand ain't trustworthy. Ain't nothing you did that makes me want to exchange this value of money that I have into your hands. So if you pretty much anybody you can extract that from anybody, because what you're really extracting it is at what point did this product fail to get you to purchase. Was it at the priming or is the value of the product? And they can say all kind of shit, all the way down like, I just ain't fucking with it. You can extract something like that from that statement. It's just boring to me. Or it ain't, I like this other thing better. Like, I think from those points is you use everyone's feedback, because at the end of the day, you're introspecting on emotions. You're introspecting the emotions of the customer, not the logic. I can design something exactly like a Nike shirt. Better quality, even better quality, better design, but my Courtsmith logo set into a shirt with a Nike logo, and if it's a particular kid, it doesn't matter if I got gold sprinkles on my shirt, he's not fucking with it. Because Nike has primed him better than me at that point. So my work, so if he says, I just don't, so those kids won't even speak. I could tell they'll look at it and it's just quickly on to the next. Because the value the brand value that they have for Nike is way stronger than where we at in this moment. So the question is, how do you convert them kids? It's possible, but I've learned to take that feedback just from the way they look at certain products. That same product with that same kid, if they see that Court Smith have collabed with one of their favorite players, now they lining up, asking me for a certain size or this or that. Or if I got videos in the store of a player that they respect or like wearing my product with that logo on it, now it's a different story. Because now the social currency of the product just went up. So you can extract it from anybody, at any level. It's just about what you're listening for, and that's more you're looking for what the emotional responses are. And we're going to talk more about priming, framing, anchoring throughout the next couple of classes. So
Many don't even know they are teaching. They are simply exemplars or even historical figures whose lessons survive in books and essays. But ego makes us so hard-headed and hostile to feedback that it drives them away or puts them beyond our reach.
So here's a statement. There are no self-made entrepreneurs on this planet. None. None. Zero. Every single entrepreneur had somebody, a group of people that mentored, helped, cajoled, backed up, created space for, added resources to, in order for that person or that group to grow and be successful. There's no self-made. So if you don't have people around you that can help add value to the tools that you have, the strategies that you have, then you're playing a super turtle game, and you're not going to live long enough to see your entrepreneurship goals manifest, period. Because it's too much you got to learn. It's too much. 7, 8, 9, 10 lifetimes of people of a person smashed into one. Where does that come from? You could be a speed reader. You could trial and error that shit. I guarantee you're going to bump your head one too many times. The true value comes from mentors, people around you that want to see you win, want to see you succeed, want to help you grow. It's part of their purpose to help you grow. So the worst thing you can do is run them off. The worst thing you can do is run them off and be the kind of person who can't be told nothing by nobody. I know it all. I know it. I know it. I know it. I know it. I got it. I got it. I know it. That used to be me. I used to be the I know it king. I got it. I know it. I know it. And the people who really got it, they disappear in your life. And now you really left on this island by yourself. Trying to, you and your ego. So that's the worst thing you can do in this journey. What I love about Jordan, Jordan works at Court Smith in the sales department, killing that shit. But what I loved about this kid is his eagerness to ask questions and learn. Before he started working there, he would just pop up at the office. Hey, can I come through? I got a couple questions. Pop up, ask us questions, and dip. What 20-something-year-old kid do that? I don't know none. I don't know none. Every fucking week. Every week. Every week. Every week. Every week. Like that, like. And I'm busy as fuck. But you make time for people like that. Okay, here. What'd you say? Okay, here, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. When you move in that space, you get people who got the game who want to help you. I'll be an idiot if I ever claimed that I did all this shit on my man. That shit is impossible. I've had some amazing mentors along the way. Amazing mentors that taught me the game, that gave me the game of how to build brands, how to build apparel brands, how to build niche brands, how to get through life, how to be a black entrepreneur, how to, like, all the shit. So the only way to get there is you got to be teachable. You got to be teachable. Not even that. I know, man, where are we going? And what game can I give you to help you, or at least start you on your journey? Next slide.
When the student is ready, the teacher appears. When the student is prideful, the teacher vanishes.
We just said that. Bye. Figure it out then. Figure it out then. Figure it out then. I can't hone this point. I can't hone this point more than I have. It's so important. This is how unfair life is in a good way. My first company, I started it just out the trunk with some homies. Similar business. But I've always wanted to give back to my hood, to the community, help black folks. So when I got to a certain stage, there was I don't know if you remember at Brookdale Park in Oakland, they would do this Stop the Shooting, Start the Hooping tournament to help donate money towards, victims who had got, caught up in shootings and things of that nature. So I was a sponsor. I barely had 2 nickels to rub together myself, but I wanted to be a part of that. So I show up, they playing hoop, whatever, doing their thing, and I'm showing up supporting, providing the T-shirts, whatever. Oakland Tribune is there. They're there to write up the event, Brookdale Park in East Oakland. We walk up, our whole staff walk up to the park, and the guy who was on camera points to me and said, "Hey, this is Court. He has his company. It was a different name at the time. He's one of the sponsors." So camera turns on me. They ask me about the company, why we sponsored, blah, 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 whatever. It's over. That Sunday, my face is in the Oakland Tribune on the fucking first page, talking about my business and contributing and giving back to the community. All just serendipitous, weird shit. All right, it was dope. My aunties and everybody, whatever. They tell my story, why I was so, passionate to me, because I grew up in this neighborhood, and when we grew up in this, and then the whole daddy was a crackhead story, fueled people's emotions, right? So at the end of the story, they put my cell phone number. So I'm irritated because now my phone is blowing up by all these strangers. Are you married? About my granddaughter want a man, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was them kind of calls. Or, hey, bro, I seen the article. I got this business idea I want to run by you. It was that all day. So, So I'm considering not answering my phone no more. And then finally my phone rings one more time. I pick it up. So I'm like, what? So then there's a white dude, an old white man. Hey, I read the article in newspaper. I just want to, I think I can probably help you out, be some value to you. I'm like, what do you do? What's your hustle? And he's like, I'm Hap Klopp, the founder of North Face. So I'm like, hey, how are you doing, sir? Yeah. So he's like, yeah, come to my office Friday. Go to his office Friday, meet this dude. I'm talking the founder of North Face. He said, meet me here every Friday for 6 months. The same shit Jordan would do. And I teach you everything you want to know about building a niche brand. And that's what I did. So I'm a teenage kid, not teenage, I'm early 20s, showing up at this dude, getting taught by the best dude, one of the best in the game at niche brands. He's from the Bay. He's a Berkeley dude, Cal Berkeley grad. That's how I got that's part of the game I got. I can never claim to be this or that. So a lot of the strategies I use to build my brand, I learned from this dude. And then at the end of the 6 months, he was like, here's 10 G's. Just do whatever. Just put it in your bank account. That's life not being fair in a good way. But if I wasn't at the time, if I didn't learn how to be mentorable, hey, you got it. You the man. Yes, teach me. Give it to me. Then like the tools, I wouldn't have half of the tools, 80% of the tools. Go ahead.
There's 3 statement questions around feedback online. So one of them, this is from Tawana, she said, feedback is very important. It helps you to grow as long as it's honest feedback.
No. How do you know if it's honest feedback or not? That's the question. Because if you, like, most feedback is outside of our blind spots. It's in our blind spots. Most feedback is outside of our circle of awareness. So everything outside of our circle of awareness seems like not honest feedback, seems like bullshit, seems like it's not true, seems weird, seems off. Because if it didn't, you'd be doing it. So any kind of feedback. Because if you get to the, well, what will make you say that? Well, what's underneath that? Well, why that? Well, why that? Well, why that? At a certain point, you're gonna get to the nugget or the truth. But you can't look at you can't have a radar of like honest, dishonest, because now you can't even. There's no clarity. If you say, hey, what do you think about my logo? And I say that shit is shitty, and you designed it, or your people designed it, and y'all think it's the best logo that you've ever seen in your life, you're gonna be like, that's a lie. That is a lie. This logo is raw. And we say, let me give you some context. This is why. Look at this. Look at this. Now let me bring you 10 logos of the market that you're going to be in, and let me just throw it in there. Now let's compare them, see what it all look like. Ooh, shit. Now you see. So the person with the most, now again, all marketing and branding and businesses are done to manipulate the mind, to influence the mind of users. Most users don't even know why sometimes that they even like stuff, but there's so much neuroscience and psychological tools that have gone into getting you to like something that you don't even realize that you're being primed, anchored, and framed. If you don't think that all fast food restaurants have the color red in them for a reason, because it's outside of your blind spot. There's a reason McDonald's, KFC, Carl's Jr., all of them have red in their logos. So that's everywhere in all businesses and all markets. It's market research done by people like Nana. They hire people like Nana and Shabisha and their whole crew to figure out how to get you to buy some shit get you to buy some shit and think it's your idea. So if you get feedback and it's outside of your realm of consciousness, it all seems like a lie. It all seems like a lie. So I was still running through that same filter of, well, why that? Well, why? Give me more. Well, tell me why. Well, what do you think about that? Well, why? And get to the root. Don't automatic, because that's also deflection. Because that makes your subconscious and conscious and ego feel good. Whenever you can combat feedback, now you feel good. Wrong. That was wrong. Nope. That's wrong. Now I feel good about, see, that wasn't true. See, I still feel good. You try to infiltrate my little shield, my little barrier, but you didn't make it because that was wrong feedback. That was bad feedback. Nah. Let it absorb it. Absorb it.
On the other side of that, how to receive feedback. Marquita asked a question about how she struggles to accept positive feedback. And so she's more in the judgmental space. So her question is how to receive feedback better, how to get better at receiving feedback.
It's the same. You run it through the same filter. So you don't get caught up in the positive feedback the same way you don't get caught up in the negative. You absorb it and you receive it and you figure out what's the what behind it. What's the what behind it? What's the why behind it? What emotional trigger caused you to like it? Give it to me. And it doesn't even mean that data is even accurate, but you're gathering it. Some things about Court Smith that people like, I've just fixed. I just fixed. So when they say, I like this thing about Court Smith, I know, okay, my priming is good over here then. Because I just fixed that shit.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. There you go. There you go. Show you right. Listen, real quick. By the way, that Curry jersey that is on your website, I was around some women this weekend, and they all are in love. So as soon as that hits the market, bro, if y'all ain't got a chance, it's a sister, the last name Curry, that plays, yes, that plays basketball at Cal Berkeley. You go to his website, it's a new a college basketball player that he signed to his brand, and he designed this look with his bear. It's so cold, and her number happens to be, is it 30? Mm-hmm. And so it looks like you rocking a feminine version of Steph Curry, but then when you hear how dope the sister is, then you realize, oh, well, shit, I'm rocking a dope jersey of a dope sister who's killing it in college basketball. I think there's something that we say feedback. I think, let me just add this one small part. And something Bolado, I got this from Bolado this weekend. Bolado wrote the book of Deviate, which has to do with the principles around certainty versus uncertainty, and how human beings, almost everything we do is to gain certainty. But one of the things he said is, and this is an excellent practice that will help you across the board with feedback. If you're in a conversation with somebody and you disagree, what he implies is tell somebody, listen, I heard what you just said, and honestly, I disagree, but can you tell me how you arrived at that point? He said, then as that person, which you gives that person permission to have a safe space to talk to you, then as that person starts to communicate with you, your goal should be to receive what they just said and not necessarily convert to their opinion, but not go back to your previous opinion. And so same thing with feedback. Now, you don't have to tell the person, I disagree with your feedback. That's some bullshit, right? Or that shit wrong. This one right. Or that's good feedback. You go, In your brain, you may say, I disagree with that. Okay, fine. So, hey, can you give me more information? When you feel that pain of, I feel uncomfortable, ask for more information. And when they give you more information, the goal is to shift your axis, not to do a complete 180, 360 conversion. And if you keep doing that, and that's a principle of moving through life as a whole, where when you're running around trying to protect your position, what you're really doing is living a life of fear. Because you fear once you let go your way of seeing what is right, then you will be in a space of uncertainty. And for the human brain, it feels like you're in a space of death. So many times we're only trying to protect our version of right because of fear of the feeling of death.
That's a good point. A question for you is, have you ever disagreed with somebody's opinion and they turned out being right later on? Then don't risk it. Don't risk it. That's an exercise then. That's a great exercise. How did you arrive at that point? It's not defensive. It's a great way to expand the conversation.
And if you ask them and they don't tell you how they got to that point, like if you ask them, like, how'd you get there? And they're like, they shut it down, then.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that one. I mean, you're questioning, asking how did they get there? You're trying to probe. You're trying to get them honestly from a place of devoid of ego. You want to learn more. That's it. If they don't even know, then they may not consciously know how to answer that, and you got to take it for what you take it for. But at least you went for it. All right, next one. This is for Chris Foster. Shout out to Chris Foster.
Oh, man. Welcome to Ego Island, where your thoughts, ideas, businesses, relationships, and yes, even you can die here alone.
Yo, check this out. Life can be harsh when you don't have resources. The beauty of the unfairness of life allows you to be able to align and build your circle and build your network with anybody. If you didn't have a family growing up, you can still create one. My family right now, I might be related to only a few of them, like blood. But my family, shit. I mean, the people that I kill and die for, I have zero blood relation to them. But I built my family. Over time, I built my family. So I have brothers and sisters who, because crack wave hit us hard and we ain't got nobody and separated and broke the family apart. And man, I get it. I understand. I was there too. But I also made the decision to create a new one for me. I created a new set of family that's better, that's stronger, that's more supportive, that's more valuable. So I ended up getting a better end of the deal. Some of y'all still going to cookouts with raggedy-ass family that you've outgrown because you're progressive and you're growing and improving, and now you have to sit there and play whatever games, you know what I mean? Ego, like building your network is imperative. You got to build your network. Some the ones here that grew up in the Bay Area and Oakland and the greater Bay Area, 60 miles of Oakland. We have a reputation for what as black folks? Our reputation stems from out the trunk, independence, building businesses independently. We are some independent motherfuckers in the Bay. We don't click to nobody. When the Bloods and Crips tried to come up here, they're like, fuck, you motherfucker. There's no incentives to get you to join. Like the Bloods and Crips couldn't even get us to join. And they 300 miles away because of our independent mindset. Not saying that that's bad or good. I'm just saying that just expresses how independent thinking we are. Our beefs in the town growing up was the street next door. You mean 64th don't like 65th? They're fighting? That's how independent we are. And that became our claim to fame, right? That became our, Too Short, E40, all that stuff, which is dope. But it also, that mindset can also have a corruption it could be corrupt. Because if you don't realize that your success and your growth comes from you locking shoulders with people and exchanging resources and using that tribe mentality, then you're gonna lose, because you're only as successful as your own resources. And we ain't big enough. We ain't good enough. No matter how smart you are, it ain't enough. Because when the elements hit and the rain come, it's washed half of your shit away and the other shit is soggy and flooded, and animals came and ate the rest, and now you're sitting there like, damn, my plan got thwarted because of some shit that happened. Ain't nobody you can call. We need people. We need people. That's the dopeness of this class too. Not just the learning, it's a network. It's a community that we built, the people that we're around, the resources we exchange amongst each other, the feedback we can give each other. If you have a product or idea or service, you can run this through every single person in this room and ask what their opinion is. And they're going to give it to you from a loving space. And they black folks. Where can you really go like that? Where can you go? So it's your network. College, really? The network. The power of college does not come from what you learn. By the time you finish that degree, what you learn is so outdated because technology has advanced and they ain't even doing that shit no more. It's your network, though. It's who you can call and who can call you. It's your network. So having a powerful network is probably one of the top 5 things you can have as an entrepreneur. It's in the top 5. If you still on this independent hustle out the trunk mindset, good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. What saved me was definitely not my hustle and my own ambitions and my own fucking whatever. It was my network that helped save my ass too. It's just true story. I would be a liar. Maybe after we all old and shit, then I'm going to tell this story differently and say it was all me, motherfucker. Like, my woo-woo kicked in and God told me what to do. And none of y'all can say shit. But, man, your network. Who's in your network? And who can you call that will pick up, that if you ask them for some help, they will say yes? Think about that right now. At 3 o'clock in the morning. Nana called me at 3 o'clock in the morning, I pick up. You good? You good? There's only certain people that pick up. What you need? What am I grabbing? A book? What am I grabbing to come get you? A book, some money, or a pistol? Which one? But I'm coming. Few people. Who can you call like that right now? And if you like, I'm doing this all by myself, I don't need nobody. So you can't rely on them. See, I got to do it by myself. That's corrupt thinking, and you're going to be on Eagle Island. And if a tree falls on Eagle Island and nobody was there to hear it, did it fall? You basically just eradicated yourself off the earth. Next slide.
Turn the volume of your passion down to 1.
Oh, I know this one hurt too. If y'all got to this part in the book, I know that hurt. I know that hurt. The confusion overtook your body and the pain of thinking about everything you're doing with passion. What's wrong with passion? Am I lying? Is true? No, okay. Now, let's get clear on passion. Passion within itself, the energy of passion, is in all of us. There's nothing wrong with it. The issue with passion is the volume at which we have it. Most of us move in a space where passion is the loudest playing song in our movement. So it overrides all logic, all strategy, all introspection, all honest feedback on ourselves, all real progressive movement. Because internally we think being passionate is all it takes to get from where we are to where we want to go. And it's not true. Passion, when your passion isn't bridled, meaning if your passion isn't turned down, to real entrepreneurs, you look like a fucking idiot. It's the truth. Because they're like, have you ever watched a Shark Tank or any kind of pitch where that person's passion, you can just see it oozing out of everything they did? And even if it was a decent idea, what happened? They passed. Why? Because your passion is going to blind you and you're going to end up fucking up and losing my money. Let your passion get you to the starting line and then turn it down to 1. And now,
Because we only seem to hear about the passion of successful people, we forget that failures shared the same trait. We don't conceive of the consequences until we look at their trajectory.
man, I've ran business full of passion before. I've ran a business full of passion. I have. Into the straight ground. And it had a hype cycle. It had a hype cycle. So if I would have turned my passion down and looked clearer, I could have took it from the hype cycle to a different space. But my passion kept me, my blind passion ended up driving that shit into the ground. That's why I learned, as a learning, when my next go around, to be dispassionate. Doesn't mean I don't love hoop. Doesn't mean I don't love art and designing. I love that shit. But guess what? When designing and art and basketball turns into 5% of what I do, I don't quit. I don't be like, this shit is boring. I don't want to do this shit no more. I just want to draw again. I just want to draw pictures. When it was fun, when it was hoop, and that's passion. No. Turn passion down. You can't turn it off, but turn it down. You people will be a liar if they was certain fields that they're in, they're not in it because there's some sort of care or passion about that field. It's just when you're in it, you turn that shit down all the way. Why not 2? Why not turn it down to 3 or 2 or 4? That's too high. It's too high. Still too loud. Because if you look out into the entrepreneur graveyard, there's tons of businesses that are in the entrepreneur graveyard that are passion businesses. So you don't want to lose if you fail, you don't want to fail because you're passionate. Because now The only learning that you can take from it is like me, don't be passionate. Versus a host of other learnings that you could have extracted from it.
Passion typically makes mask a weakness. It's breathlessness and impetuousness and franticness. Franticness, I don't know why I struggled to say that, are poor substitutes for discipline, for mastery, for strength and purpose and perseverance. You need to be able to spot this in others and in yourself, because while the origins of passion may be earnest and good, its effects are comical and then monstrous.
Have you ever met a person that you were attracted to? And y'all was like thunder and lightning coming together. It was amazing. You're amazing. Shit popped off. The passion between you two was fucking incredible. And everything after that, it was like a yes, yep, okay, yep, what we doing? Yep, it's good. Because you were so passionate. And then the passion calms down and you really look at that person and you're like, what the fuck did I do? Why am I here? What was I thinking? What was I thinking? Who told me to do that? You telling your girlfriend, how come you didn't stop me? Because you were so passionate. You were so happy. You were so giggly. You were so, man, y'all was, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to interrupt that. I hope you ain't got no kid. Because if you do, then you stuck with that lame for another 18 or more, 2020. So understand, passion can be, it's okay to feel the feelings because you're going to feel it. But sometimes it's also smarter to step back and use your other tools. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, the passion is a 14. Got it. Now let's go to the other criteria, objectively. And be willing to make a hard call if it's a pass. Damn it, I want to stay, but I gotta go. Shit, I want to stay. Okay, one more time, just one more time. When in my toxic phase, I had a girl do that to me. Court, I'm not fucking with you no more. You ain't no good for me, blah, 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 blah. I was like, you're right. I respect that. She was like, but I'm going to come over one more time, and then that's it after that. All right. And she kept to her word. She needed to close it out. I respected her for that because I was toxic as fuck during those times. But passion will get you caught up. Investments. If they can see that you are gang goofy, they will sell you on their passion to invest in their shit. And you won't even ask, what's the numbers? What's the revenue? How much did you sell? What's the profit margins? What's the business model? What's your values? All of that shit, because they get you pumped on the idea. That's why it says, turn the passion down to zero. Be dispassionate. It's for your benefit. It's not to hate on your life. When I read it, it shit hit me. I had to take a couple swallows, right? Shit. All right. It's not to hate on your life. What it's instituted for is for thinkers. And if you're a thinker, if you're an entrepreneur, you're a thinker. So if you're still playing in a space of passion and you need that as your operating system, as your fuel, then we got hella other problems. But here's the remedy. Here's a solution. Let's go to the next slide. Live with purpose. Sorry, Shabisha. Live with purpose. Purpose trumps passion. Purpose is a trump card for a lot. Purpose is a trump card for self-discipline. Purpose is a trump card for passion. Purpose is a trump card for values, money, manhood, womanhood, so much. Living with purpose allows you to use your system 2 thinking way more. That's your cure for passion. That's your cure for passion. Is purpose. What is your purpose? Why are you here? What drives you? What drives you? Period. Why are you here? What did God put you on this earth to do? This shit doesn't even have to be true. If you believe it and that's your purpose in the moment, then it's going to supersede a lot of your addictions, your weaknesses. Man, come on. Y'all know where we from, right? All the fucking stuff that we've gone through a lot, the same shit you've gone through. So all of the dark sides and shadows and weaknesses and all the shit that some of y'all got, I got. And sometimes just speaking for myself, I'm not speaking about you, okay? This is going to be about me. You guys is all angels. But in my journey to try to live a better life and be a better person, I've tried certain things to get me to stop certain behaviors, certain shadow behaviors, dark side behaviors. I thought God could fix it. And I've gotten to spaces where church didn't do it. Church wouldn't even do it. I still have the desire and still take the action to be on some shit like that. I've tried other things. Live for this, do that. You know what works for me most? My purpose. My purpose. My freedom from hella addictions that I used to have comes from me living in my purpose. The fact that I ain't catting off with all this money and I still give myself a shit salary because I want to. I don't got gold chain. I ain't trying to smash on a hella chick. None of that, because I'm in my purpose. I live in my purpose. So that cuts off a lot of internal, what's the word? It cuts off a lot of internal fighting for me because my purpose supersedes all that shit. Hey, we got a mission, Court, and we got to fulfill that. You're right. Let's go. If I get caught, if I catch myself slipping or getting weak, or most of the time what brings me back in the center is, hey, man, we got a mission. What you doing? Let's go. You're right. Living in your purpose can help supersede a lot of the broken parts of you. Telling you. So when you dig deep into the why am I here and what am I here to do, it changes the game. An early purpose of mine was to help my mom financially. I'm a kid. 7th grade, 6th, 7th grade. So life changed drastically. We was Maxwell Park. Now we by the over by the graveyard now, right? And so I've seen my mom struggling. I self-proclaim myself as a man of the house at 6th grade. So my first thing is how I'm going to generate money, how I'm going to make money, because I want to help my mom. That became my purpose. I want to help my mom. So I start selling anything I put my hands on. I started this candy hustle. little $2 you give me for lunch, I go to the corner store, I buy hella 10-cent candy, and by third period, I got lunch money and more. I got $2, get my lunch, and I got another $4, $5, $6, $7, and I start doing that every day. So then summertime comes, I was like, oh, Mom, I'm good. I don't need your money. I don't need your lunch money no more, and I don't need your school clothes money because I make $30 a week with my hustle. Why didn't I eat the candy? And I'm a candy addict because of my purpose. Why didn't I eat the candy? I'm a candy fiend because of my purpose. So in 6th grade, 7th grade, she never gave me lunch money again. Now, that's a small example of when you move in your purpose of something way bigger than you, then it changes your discipline. It's a true story. Yep.
I'm thinking about, so your story, framed in a different way, could be a parent not seeing to their kids. And I'm asking the question because I hear mothers, or I witness mothers, like, do a lot for their kids. And this is, so and I'm wondering, does it hurt children if you don't start teaching them or allowing them to kind of flex that kind of responsibility? I'm just trying to, the question that's coming to mind for me is like, well, for young kids coming up who their parents that wasn't the road for them, their parents did it all for them. How does that set them up or not set them up to succeed in life? Because my sister is like, I'm never going to let my kids struggle. I'm never going to let this. I'm never going to let that. And she didn't. But I'm like, now I'm wondering, like, was that the most beneficial thing? And every kid is different, and there's no one size fits all. But I'm wondering if there's something to that.
You're right. Every kid is different. There's no one size fits all. But the caveat in that is this: struggle is necessary for growth in some capacity. Pain, struggle, heartache, tension, bullying, overcoming adversities, challenges, pain is necessary for growth. So it doesn't have to be that exact example of lunch money or not, or this or that. It just means if you raise your children and they're void of any of those things, then you basically created impotence in those kids, and it can damage them. Period. And that is one of the biggest mistakes us middle class black folks make, is that we've had so much trauma in our youth growing up, and pain and without and abuse, that we literally will try to do the opposite of that to our children, not realizing that our children needed small doses of that, safe versions of that, in order for them to prosper. I got a 25-year-old and a 21-year-old. So I'm speaking from real shit. So the first thing I did, we was talking about this today at work. First thing I did when my sons was born, they was Jordaned out. Motherfucker couldn't walk. And they was Jordaned out, both of them. Every Jordan that ever came out, because I had it at that moment. I was doing it. So I wanted to give them everything I didn't have. So they didn't have to lift finger. But think about this analogy, and it's the truth. And I told this before. If a butterfly goes in its cocoon, and you see the butterfly struggling, And Kaja walks up to the butterfly and says, "Oh, that's not fair. That butterfly's struggling. That's not right. And you, let me help it." You open up the little cocoon a little bit and let the butterfly get out. It will never fly, because there's nothing that the butterfly can rub up against or push its arms against to get strength enough to build that fucking muscle. So you just hurt it by trying to help it.
Can I get some?
Okay.
Can I get a little bit of that?
Yes, sir.
This is once again, it's close to home. No one's ever told us that, using that purpose thing, that men and women need social nutrients. Social nutrients. In this non-binary movement, we've lost the value of masculinity and femininity, although everything around us came into existence because of that balance. And also, because we lost masculinity and femininity, we think one side could win and the other, and we'll all be okay. So if men win, we're not going to be okay, and if women win, we're not going to be. We need us both to win. There's a balance in relationships that's beautiful when we come together, and I was fortunate to have a rough and tough alpha female, feminine but beat your ass mama. And like sometimes as a man, we could be a little too rough. We can. And sometimes y'all could be a little too loving. You can. And in your desire to protect your children, often it's like cutting that cocoon wide open. You got to know how to create safe, challenging experiences. Now, when I say, like, don't send your child through Serenity Park at night. That's not what I'm suggesting. If you say I suggested that, let it be recorded now and on the documents that I did not suggest that shit. But a lot of times, mothers, when you're trying to protect your child from the harms of this world as you're bombarded with all the dangers in this world, you're actually damaging that child. For boys, they even say that you can get us to a point where it causes harm to us. And hurt boys hurt people in the community. Hurt boys grow up to hurt others. And so love ain't a positive tool if it's overused. It requires balance. And so I wanted to add that because this point on purpose, if I had to say one of the most powerful things Court taught tonight, which he taught so many, that fairness was cold. Okay, one of the most powerful things, that fairness was cold. Matter of fact, I'm about to get him to do that somewhere else. But that fairness was cold. But purpose, as a man, your manhood depends on it. If you don't have purpose, you're a dangerous animal. Women, a lot of times, are able to achieve purpose in childbearing. You see women, you guys know what I'm talking about, how you're one way, and when that child comes to this earth, that purpose transforms you. And so a lot of times men, our whole life, we lived our whole life to sacrifice our lives for the building of society. We were disposable for our whole existence. East Oakland right now is only horrible because black men don't know they have to serve a purpose. And when we don't serve a purpose, we serve self. And when we serve self, we become individualists. And when we become individualists, not only are we very destructive, we don't care about anybody else. We in our own emotions, our feelings. We have higher levels of depression. We have higher levels of suicide. We have higher levels of violence. Purpose is actually the balance that's absolutely needed. And this is my last point. In this atheist culture, I can respect both sides. I believe in God too. I'm not traditional at all. I'm not Christian, but I also believe the Bible is valid. But in my process, I realized we got to stop this attack on people's religion. Some people need religion as their purpose to maintain their position in society. It is not up for us to say, to be our religious champion, the so-called truth that we think we have, because often we don't have it. 99.9% of the time, we don't have it. All right, shit, fuck it, 100% of the time, we don't have it. Fuck it, 110% of the time, we don't have it. We got to stop this whole idea of devaluing, because for a lot of human beings, that is the tool that keeps them from being that animal that we talked about. So human beings, we're not known to be large. We're not known to function well in large groups. If you go back to 100 years ago, we didn't do well in large groups. It's just a matter of time before we start killing each other. And we still that fragile. If you look at Ukraine right now, look at Ukraine before the war and now after the war. Right? We're that animal. We're still that animal. And so purpose is so freaking important to not only you as a man and a woman, to parenting as a child. All this pop music says children don't need to have a purpose, just be happy. Right? New hip hop is children don't need to have a purpose, just be happy. If you want to see how powerful this is, do a poll for the next 2 weeks. Ask everybody you know that's under 30, what's your purpose? And see if you get back more than 1%.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's get through it.
Great men have almost always shown themselves as ready to obey as they afterwards proved able to command.
You get that? So that goes against that whole boss culture that we created. I'm a boss. I started a business because I don't want nobody telling me what to do. Well, you fucked up. You better go back to your job. Because now you are of service to the community. You went to being from of service to one person to of service to a whole community. The humble parts of you are willing to hold somebody's bag. If you're not willing to hold somebody's bag, then it's hard for you to build anything. Purpose also allows you to humble yourself. Purpose also allows you to humble yourself. In situations and be second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh on the bench if you need to for the purpose of winning the game. Nana just being who he is creates this platform and put me in this position to teach the first half of this class. I was 100% ready to be the motherfucker sweeping in this motherfucker. I said, how can I help? When I called him, because I want to do the similar thing, how can I help? Whether that's be where Josh is or whoever, I just want to help be a part of this and help this grow. Or just be, if it's me just being a student in the audience, I want to help expand this. I don't give a fuck if I'm sweeping, if I'm Robin, if I'm Batman, it don't matter. I don't even see it. A person who used to take this class a couple years back, I hope he's not taking it because I'm about to say some shit. He was like, doesn't it bother you that Nana dominates the conversation? What? This is his shit. That's an egoic, weak mind. I fill in the spaces wherever they're needed. From saying one word to 1,000 words, because I'm not here for any of the accolades besides how can I help add value to this? You got to be willing to hold a bag for your purpose. I've worked for free for a year for somebody to learn the game, soak the game up. For free. Spent my gas money every day to pull up because they had something I needed. You got to be willing to be humble, and you got to be willing to hold a bag, meaning that's metaphor for being of service to somebody in this game. And our culture ain't about that life right now. Ain't about that life. But I certainly am. If I need to learn something, or if my purpose tells me to do something, I don't care what seat I'm sitting in. That's completely counter to how I used to be. If I was playing hoop, I had to be the point guard. If I was in the room, I had to be running shit. I got to be leading. I got to be talking the most. I got to be this. I got to be in front. I got to be, because I don't like nobody telling me nothing and I'm the boss. That's an old mentality. Welcome to Ego Island, motherfucker. Welcome to Ego Island. And you better be smart. You better figure it out, because ain't nobody coming for your ass, because don't nobody want to help you. They want to see you fail because they want you to learn this lesson. You need to fail because you got to learn this lesson. Learn it early. So stop with that independent shit. Like, that's also kind of, in my mind, a theory that I have, remnants from slavery. We don't want to be servants to nothing now. The word that sound too that sound too close to slavery. I ain't serving nothing. But that's how you. Here we go with the Bible again. Another vague scripture I got in my head about the person who sits at the table. There's a table that's happening, right? And the person who sits in the least position at the table will get put to the front, right? And the person who jumps in the front will get put to the least. That's what this analogy is saying. Sit in the seat where you can get in. Sit in the weak, feel the space. And over time, the value you add, people can't contain holding you back because you add too much value. Which leads to the next slide.
Imagine if for every person you met, you thought of some way to help them, something you could do for them. And you looked at it in a way that entirely benefited them and not you. The cumulative effect this would have over time would be profound. You'd learn a great deal by solving diverse problems. You'd develop a reputation for being indispensable. You'd have countless new relationships. You'd have an enormous...
Wait. Can you say that sentence again with some funk on it?
The relationships one?
Yep.
Okay. You'd have countless new relationships.
Can you say it one more time with some stank on it?
You have hella new relationships, fam. Hella new relationships. I mean, what? All the relationships. All of them. 3 of them.
You feel me? So, it's what I call the advancing human theory. The advancing human theory is that advancing humans leave a positive trail everywhere they go. And they make it a part of their automatic system. They don't think about it. It's part of their system. So that everywhere they go, they leave it better than what it was when they came. Everywhere they go. Everywhere they go. And it's automatic. So if you are of service to people and you have an advancing mentality, that means you're always looking at ways where you can add value to the situation. How can I help you? How can I serve you? What do you need? How can I help you? How can I help you? Doesn't mean I'm interjecting in your business, but you provide light everywhere you go. You provide light everywhere you go. And that's your routine. You ain't talking shit, or you ain't talking shit about people. Whenever you engage with people, you're not engaging in shit-talking conversations, gossipy conversations, negative conversations, conversations that leaves people drained. You're not draining their energy by always leaning on them because you throwing up at the mouth, venting all the time, and it's never positive. It's never value add. Every conversation, you trying to sell something, manipulate something, get people to buy something, get something for nothing, talk people out of something, talk people out their value, because you got to get yours. You got to get yours at all times. That's the movement. That's your personality. And you wonder why people steer clear of you. It's because you don't add value. You're not advancing. You're a takeaway. And you can only deduct from people's emotional bank accounts so much until their bank accounts are empty. And soon yours will be too. But if you're always depositing in everyone's emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, financial bank account, everywhere you go, I got something for you. Even if it's just a smile to say, look, you are beautiful and I love you. Keep up the good work. You got this. You just deposit it in their emotional bank account. If you're always doing that, it ain't going to be hard to pull up your phone and have that 3 a.m. conversation with somebody. It's not going to be hard because you have a habit of giving. It doesn't always have to be money, but if you're in the rhythm of it, if you a hater, you jealous, motherfuckers can smell that a mile away. Listen, I've been a hustler for years, meaning as a kid, I've had wads of money off my own initiatives for a long time. So I've been in a space where as a kid I was getting money. So I can smell haters before they even know they about to hate. It's an energy, and it just comes from low self-value. And sometimes you think you can conceal it, you can't. It'll come up with little slide comments, little snarky things, little quiet. It just comes out. So what? If you know that about yourself, start working on that. Start blessing them in your mind. God bless you. Good job. I'm happy for you. Start practicing that. This person probably worked super hard. Man, Shakina's about to get a bigger gym. Psh, psh, pff. Them things, right? She lucky. Not everybody cute like that, whatever. She got it because not everybody get to be around Nana all the time. Foregoing the fact that maybe she busted her ass. Maybe she busted her ass. Maybe she worked so hard to change her psychology around in order to take those steps to get there. It's a long way from fucking Herbalife. It's a long way from Herbalife. I got one of them presentations before from the old Shakina. I've gotten her Herbalife presentation. So, but damn, can you imagine the amount of work it takes to transform and progress and grow and grind with a daughter and this? So then you talk yourself into being happy, and now you her biggest fan. So then when you see her the next time, that hug is genuine. All that is part of being advancing. Leave shit better. If all your past relationships, the people went crazy and went to the crazy house, I know I'm touching buttons right now. If they in the crazy house, or they lost their mind, or they shaved their head bald, or did some crazy shit, you're leaving your relationships worse than when you got here. Listen, I've done a couple bald head shaves too. But once you dedicate yourself to becoming an advancing person, you make a concerted effort to even all your past relationships, you good. Even all your exes, y'all cool. Even friends that you fell out with, they can't say shit really, because man, God, you're a good dude. You're a good woman. All your, like, if it's time to move out of a place, that place is sparkling clean. The restaurants you go to, do the waiters look at you and be like, psh, you getting a bare minimum, motherfucker? Are you the person like, hey, can I get some water? It's been sitting here for a long time, because they know that you don't tip for shit. Be an advancing person. You'll be surprised how the universe and other people respond back to you. All right, last one, and we'll get out of here.
It doesn't matter how talented you are, how great your connections are, how much money you have. When you want to do something big and important and meaningful, you will be subjected to treatment ranging from indifference to outright sabotage.
Shakina.
Count on it. In this scenario, ego is the absolute opposite of what is needed. Who can afford to be jerked around by impulses or believe that you're God's gift to humanity or too important to put up with anything you don't like? Those who have subdued their ego understand that it doesn't degrade you when others treat you poorly. It degrades them.
Quick example. Don't do it, Corey. Don't do it. We're going to do this one. So here's a quick example. My first wave of money, I was wilding out a little bit. But I had experience being treated in these manners. So I make it a game. So it was time, what's the term now? They call it flexing, right? So I'm going to the BMW dealership, Weatherford BMW, to flex. I'm getting 2 BMWs at the same time. That's what I'm doing. So I dress pretty much like this, but I could see better. Walk up to the dealership. I stand there. The Asian kid walks by me. The white dudes run from me. So I'm like, that's fine. I see the brother. Come on, brother. Just say hi. And he looks at me and does a head turn and goes into the office. I'm like, fuck. I wanted to get his brother the commission. And then this like hippie white guy comes out and be like, hey, how you doing? Do you want to test drive anything? I'm like, I already know what I want. I did all the research on it. I know the MSRP. I know the numbers. I want the 7 Series and the X5. And he's like, wait, what? I don't want to test drive it. I already know what I want. Let's just go in the room and do the thing. And so we go in the room, do the thing, put the down payments on both of them, and they have to pull the cars up in the front. And they pull both cars up, and all the salespeople are sitting there looking like, what the fuck just happened? So I'm walking past like, my buddy John just got this commission, so hey, John, I got you. Next time, you my guy now. From now on, John. The point is, it's not about how it makes you feel. It degrades them. I'm starting backwards and work my way up. It's not about you. It's not a reflection on you. It's them. My whole mission back then was trying to prove that people like us got money too. That shit is wrong. It's false. But the point is, the degradation isn't about you. It's about them. And the more poorly somebody treats you based on observation, the more they can be manipulated, the more powerful you are. That's why we say don't not code switch ever. I don't give a fuck what you selling. Don't code switch. Be yourself. If you got an accent from Chicago, Mississippi, Alabama, New Orleans, New York, East Oakland, man, accentuate that shit. Like, say that then. Say it. Because the more you are in your power in a conversation and you let your intelligence come through who you are exactly, that shit is powerful. So if you code switching from a white man, you show your weakness. You show your fear. I'm scared of you. I'm intimidated by you, so I'm going to try to impress you by talking like you. Motherfucker, I can't talk like you. I can't do it. It automatically puts you in a subservient, weaker position. The art of war calls that the low ground. So you on the low ground off top. You lost the war already because you're trying to imitate something that you can never be. So that's why we don't code switch. That's why it puts them in a low ground, in a weaker position. You stand in your power, and you have enough self-value to know that if somebody is in that space, that shows they have mental disorders that they working through. They have fears. They got low self-value. They don't love themselves enough. They weak. They're scared. And they're showing their insecurities are oozing out all over the place.
But how do you use that to your advantage?
Can I jump on to just show you how I will use it against you?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna show you a technique real quick. It's two-edged sword. So you gotta learn how to defend yourself against this, but you gotta learn how to use the same tool. I say, hey, tell me 3 things you really love that's not really like, that's not your daughter, that's kind of creepy, but something in society, 3 things in society you really love. Yeah, just tell me 3 things real quick.
Art.
No specific. No, don't be like air, the sky, and things that fly. You're like, what the fuck is that?
I like to make things with my hands.
Pause. Keep it going. Try something better. I had to get you.
I love to work out.
Okay. Let's say there's a particular style of workout that you really loved. And I walk up to you and I say, hey, Shakina, hey, you hear about that new style of workout? You're like, yeah, what one you talking about? I call it the Style 4. You're like, oh, I love Style 4. You're like, oh, I absolutely love. Matter of fact, my wife goes to Style 4. I've been going to Style 4 for all these years. You're like, you have? I'm like, man, we are so similar. Hey, do you want to buy this object over here? I already got you. Because your brain is going to want to maintain that similarity. Okay, let me show you what Court was just doing. Before I even open my mouth, if you're looking for approval, that technique's already started operating. So at this point, I got the power of manipulation. Now, what's so cold is if you can see that coming before the rise, there's counter moves as well as dismissals, right? But in my negotiation, that's why people sit down with you and try to find commonality. So as they feel this twinsy type of feel, they're now shaping a form of certainty that depends on our relationship, and God forbid that you will step into uncertainty and betray that relationship. So you make a whole bunch of decisions you should not make that even are working against you. I almost incentivize you to make decisions against yourself. And so it's important that you can't seek approval from people and be a great negotiator. You got to bring every human being in front of you down to just being a human being. That's why I hate, once again, you know me, for 3 years I've been preaching this, I hate social justice. Because as you feel you're inferior to men, inferior to white men, then that gives them power of negotiation over you. Because one of them in a room will feel like 5 people against you. And so, but once you can just shrink that white man to a human being that bleeds just like you, now you just neutralize his position of power and you're on the same level of ground. And then 2, once you learn how to move from these lessons Court is teaching you, the best way to defeat an enemy is when you know the enemy has a line that it draws and there's a line behind it. An enemy that doesn't have a foundation when it's moving, its negotiation, is a hard enemy to battle with.
Yes, that's a great one. Another one is capacity, right? In experiencing this, I use this to my advantage all the time. Is capacity. Capacity can can create superhero syndrome in people's minds. So if you approach a situation, say a customer or anybody values you low on first take, right? You have a business and they value you low. They look at other black businesses and they put them all in their mind and they come up with they spit out a scenario how the experience is going to be. It's going to be cheap. They're going to be like bad customer service. Shit ain't going to work, blah, 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 X, Y, Z. And then they come to your business and you give them excellent service. Maybe you they expected a 3 and you give them an 8, 8.5. The distance between what they expected and what they gave you is so wide, in their brain it's a 15. Oh my God. If you ever been over complimented by a white person, that means I expected some bullshit and I got this and now my mind is blown. Even though the restaurant next door or the product next door may have been a 9 or a 10, they still would view yours better because of the capacity. They expected the restaurant next door to be at 7 or 8, so their capacity is only at 2. It's only a 2 space, so they're slightly amused. They're, yeah, this is good. This is what I expected. But when you show up with that wide of a gap, now they're telling everybody. And what their subconscious mind is telling people, yo, I thought these black folks was going to be trash, and they end up being good. This is amazing. It blew my mind. I want you to see it too. That's how you use that shit. So when we pay the extra $3 for a box and for paper and stickers and all that shit, so when the customer gets their box, they know Core Smith is black owned by some hood dude, and they see this like, what the fuck? This is amazing. A lot of companies do that shit. If I have money for all the time, the packaging is amazing. The packaging is really like a lot of packaging, but they're surprised that we pulled this shit off, and that's how you use it to your advantage. Any questions before we go? Okay.
Real quick before you shut down, Josh. New homework will be posted will be sent out via email, be posted in the Facebook group. I'm only going to post a couple of pieces, but with your extra, because there's no class next Wednesday.
Yes, no class.
So next Wednesday is the Wednesday off, and then we'll be back the following Wednesday. So that's 2 weeks of no class. But in that time, please go back and listen to the podcast that was posted, any of the podcasts that were posted this month that deserve a second listen, because there's no way in the world you can get those podcasts we posted in the first pass. Also, we're posting another podcast that will be sent out tomorrow that's super, 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 super powerful. Some of these podcasts should be in rotation. And so we're not going to give you a whole bunch of stuff because we won't give you time to go back and listen to some of the older stuff. Stop the whole mentality of I just need to expose myself to something one time and I got it. It doesn't work. That's not how your brain works. It's an illusion. So just look out for the homework. Tennille will blast out. By the way, Tennille is she's replaced Marquita. So when that's why the room gets brighter when she comes in, because for 510 Media, she's the light of the room. So
she is hella light skinned though.
But yeah, okay. But that's a light skin war. I don't get between those two wars. But the point is that Tennille is really the foundation, one of the foundations of 510 Media, and she's a bad mama jamma. So anyway, she's going to be making sure that gets out tomorrow. Tennille makes sure that we're on top of our dotting our I's and crossing our T's and maintaining our brand experience. So just shout out to Tennille. Love you. Appreciate you. Next to the media women in my life, you're the next one I love. There you go. I don't want to get no trouble. I know my wife watches this show, so I don't want to be like, what are you saying? Anyway, with that being said, appreciate everybody. Love you guys. And look out for the homework, and court closes out.
All right, y'all. That's it. See y'all in 2.